So tonight we've got two interesting makes to make. I'll grab one of them for a second. We have what we call the Converti bag, or aka the Teren Sling by Terrific Planner. So this is one that I've previously made. They're really cute, beautifully compact, and honestly they just fit great. So with these, they can be used as a sling bag with just one, or they can be used as a backpack with two straps. So you've got your single strap like so for a sling, or you double for a backpack. And this is why I dubbed it the Converti bag. So today we're going to be making a Apothecary Diaries version, which I'm super, super excited about. In fact, I actually was sitting there watching the new episode just last night. And they need to hurry up and bring out more episodes. Just bear with me one moment. Having a couple technical difficulties with the stream, but we're getting through it. Alrighty, so another thing you may notice is at the moment we've got dual camera setups. We've spent most of today trying to get the streaming setup a lot better. Hoping tonight we won't have too many cutouts and that sort of stuff, but I do have new stuff for the internet to try and prevent that from happening in the future, but it doesn't arrive till Tuesday, so fingers crossed. Alrighty. So this is from the gorgeous fabric that I got from Sewtaku that arrived earlier this week that I did a bit of a stream on. This is the Apothecary's Diary one, which, you know, love. So I'm looking forward to this make. Alrighty, so what we've got is we've got one external, two external, two internal pieces, plus your pocket piece. Now I will be jumping between two machines, so it could be a bit iffy because I don't have the big wide angle camera set up yet for the Juki. So bear with me a little bit on this one. We've also got our exterior is going to be done in a soft nappa leather. Our interior is going to be in this gorgeous light galaxy print. Our zippers are this stunning, I don't even know what to call this right now. I call it sunset usually, but I feel like sunset's not the right words for it. So we've got those. We've got some gorgeous tree zippers to go as well. And, you know, meow meow, right? Cat. Rainbow cat. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get started. How has everyone's weekend been, by the way? Mine's been hectic. And I am keeping an eye on the comments, so feel free to comment away and I will try and interact as I can. Alright, so that's going to be my front. That one is going to be my back. Alright. So we're going to grab our front and our back and our clips, and we are going to base these pieces together. So that is our front outer and our front lining. So like usual with basting, we just want a tiny little stitch across here. And you don't need to backstitch or anything when you're basting. Now, yes, I could easily do this on my Juki, being the fact that this is canvas, but due to the fact that I will also be working in leather, I find it easier to stay with the same sort of machine while going through it, except for when we go and do the internal pocket. Thank you, Jasmine. I absolutely love this print. I was actually just talking to Beck from Sewtaku the other day. And yeah, look, this show is amazing and the print is just stunning. Apparently I keep losing my tools today, so bear with me for a second. Seem to keep misplacing my snips every time I put them down today. I did the same thing with my big scissors today, so I'm on a roll, guys. I am on a roll. Alright, so that is our front. So that's going to get put aside for the moment. Next, we are going to grab our inner lining, our inner pocket, our Mau Mau Cat zipper, and our zipper tape. And we're going to head on over to the Juki. Now, I will apologise in advance. This machine loves to talk to people when you first turn it on, and it's going to regularly try and interrupt because it likes to tell you you're doing overtime if it's after 5 p.m.
Hello, May 18th, Sunday. I will do my very best to assist you in any way I can. Let's do our best.
Give me 1 second, guys. I seem to have misplaced one of my pieces. I do actually try and get this all prepped and ready before I start streaming so that like everything is ironed, everything's kind of set up, just makes it a bit easier. Plus it doesn't take as long then because I mean ironing and cutting and tracing out patterns just takes forever. Like I think in all honesty it's taken me a couple of hours today to try and get this all prepped ready. And I still managed to miss one of my pattern pieces. So I'm just doing a quick trace around and cut out. Alrighty, so there's our next pattern piece. And we're going to swap it straight to the Juki setup only. Alrighty, so we're going to grab our zip. Now, we'll let you know while I'm over at the Juki, I can't actually see any comments, so I do apologize if I miss anybody's. I swear I'm not normally this disorganized. I promise. Alrighty, so what we do is we go through and we clip down our zipper tape to our pocket. So this will be the exterior of the pocket, this piece here. This will be the interior. So we've got to make sure that they face each other, so when I flip them over, they'll be the right way. Now the reason why I've got to use the Juki for doing this, because technically this fabric is way too thin without some form of thickish interfacing to run through my Seiko. It will not do it, it will not like it. It is a medium weight that tends to head more towards the heavy side, especially while running a leather sort of foot on it as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew our zipper down. So this machine is actually quite automated. So it's got automatic front and back tacking, auto cut, and quite a few other things. All right, so now we're going to turn it like that. So you can see that's your back, that's your front, and we're going to top stitch. Now I'm going to sit it a bit further back when it starts because of my top stitch. I don't want it doubled up along the front. It won't look nice. So that gives us our top stitch. Now it's always fun trying to figure out exactly where this lands. So it's usually a bit of a move it around, check, have a look, see. And that looks about where we want it. So I'm just going to put 2 clips on this for the moment. Just till we can get it over onto the machine. And same deal, make sure you're back tacking when you're putting zippers on, because you want them to stay on. Alrighty. Alright, so we press that down a little bit. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to grab a lighter for 2 seconds. That's not very nice, Jess. Come on. Alrighty, so we go through, give it a quick nip with the lighter, because again, you don't want these starting to fray on you, but you also don't want them to melt too much, especially around the teeth, because otherwise, basically, you're not going to get your zipper on. So I like my zippers always to go to the right, so we start putting it on from the left. So now we flatten that out a little bit. Take it back to here. Now we're base stitching these pockets together, and also to stop the zipper from coming back undone. So that's the only piece that we're going to be doing from this one on the Juki. So we're going to head back over to the other machine now.
Thank you for your hard work.
Like I said, it loves to talk to people. It's really irritating. Alrighty, so welcome back over to the bigger boy machine. Just going to tidy this up for 2 seconds and grab the pieces that we need. Alrighty. So what we got now with these pieces is we've got a front, we've got an inner lining, and we've got a back exterior. What we're going to do is we're going to grab this back exterior first. Grab your label. This is my one. And we're going to place this towards the middle, and you want it a good 1.5 inches up so that it's not going to be in your stitch line, but it's also not going to get impacted by other things. We're going to drop our stitch down to a 3. I'm not surprised, Jess. I'm really not surprised. But thank you for tuning in, even if you're half watching a movie at the same time. I do appreciate it. Alright. So first things first, with any of your leather ones, you need to make sure you put your needle down and through, because otherwise it just will not sit where you want it to sit. So really got to grow my nails again because it's really hard to grab these threads sometimes. Now, when doing labels, never backstitch, and I'll show you why. Here you grab your nifty difty little pick boy here, flip this bad boy over, you grab your first thread, pull it, and pull the top thread through. Do the same thing to the other one. And because this is on the back, I'm not too stressed. We're not going to do them singularly. I'm just going to tie them all together. Snip it back. And we burn it. And there we go. That's our label on. And we have no extra strings or anything sitting to the front. So that's why we don't backstitch any of our labels. So we're now going to grab the piece we've just put our label on. And we're going to grab our piece with the pocket. And we're going to baste these together as well. We're not worried if there's any overlap at the moment because that'll all get trimmed. Alright, so again, grab our ends and we're going to base stitch. Now we're going to grab some scissors. We're going to trim off the excess zipper tape and any excess fabric that sits outside of the range of our exterior. I gotta ask, did anyone get to go to Offspring and Simple Plan during the week? And if so, how was it? I'd love to know. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go, so gotta live vicariously, right? All right, so we now have both exterior pieces. So we can put them to the side. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our zipper pieces, which is these. So this is our exterior, this is our interior, and that's our zip. So we're going to grab one exterior and we're going to try and put it about middle of the zipper tape. Now this will end up slightly wonky at one end, but that's because unfortunately this has got quite a bit of stretch in it for leather. But let me tell you, oh my god, is it soft. And for those that watched the last live stream episode of Anima Stitch, this is the same leather that was used for the Luigi's Mansion goblin case that I made last week. So now that we've got the exterior face down to your tape, we're going to grab one of the linings, and that's going to be face down to the back of the zipper tape. Make sure it's lined up with the lever. Now, I do want to say a big happy birthday to the, as I'm going to call them, birthday twins today. You both know who you are. You are fabulous people. Massive happy birthday, and I'm very thankful to be your friends. Alright, so due to the fact that I don't really have any other foot other than this one for this at the moment, I've got to run it on the opposing side to what you normally would for using this sort of machine. So just bear with me. Alright, so like usual on zippers, we backstitch. And again, backstitch your ends. Alrighty. So then we're going to flip it over and we're going to top stitch. So as you can see, oh Jess, I'd expect nothing else from you, in all honesty. And if you're actually wondering, I'm making a bag. So you keep pulling the underside out as well as the top side, but don't pull it too tight and actually rip the stitches underneath. I'm going to trim these extra threads off. And we're going to repeat the process. So top side down, line it up with your previously done one. Same with the lining again. I'd love to know if there's anything anyone would like to actually see made on one of these lives, whether it be like handbags, bags, Kindle covers. What would you guys like to see? That's what I'd like to know. I'm also working on putting together a, let's call it Craft and Anime Chats podcast, where a few of us who love all different types of arts and crafts, whether they be sewing, crocheting, even like baking and that, get together and make stuff, but also chat about anime and like gaming, all that sort of stuff. So if that's of any interest to you, let me know. I'll keep you in mind and we'll add you to the list of people to send the invite out to once we get this all up and running. So we trim off our excess pieces of thread. And that is part of the gusset. What we're going to do next is we're going to put our actual zipper pulls on. Now, this bag is actually one of my favorites to make. I've made, I've got to have a look now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them so far. And they are super easy, super fun to make, and honestly, any design works. So if you want to take your hand at bag making and you want a really good like design to have a crack at, I highly recommend this one. So there's our zipper pulls on now. Next we're going to grab our actual gusset pieces. So these are like the bases. I'm going to put that zipper piece to the side. again. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to line up the edge like so. We're going to pin it down. And not throw our clips at ourselves like I do. I don't know how many times at work on Friday I said, well, yep, I'm definitely clumsy because God, I was even tripping over my feet. And that's a special talent. Same deal with our lining. We're going to put it face down against it, line it up, and clip it. Now, from experience, I know what sort of size the actual edge is for this. This is what this line's actually here for, so I don't have to try and measure it out. So what it'll look like when you've done that, flip it back in, it'll look like that. Now we will be top stitching this section. This just helps give it some good structure. Then we're going to split that piece. And we're going to do the same up here, line it back up. Big thing at this point, double check you put your zipper pulls on. I don't know how many times I and many others have forgot to put our zipper pulls on, done both sides and gone, oh no! I've now got to unpick it. And it is the worst feeling. So at this point, before you stitch your second side, double check you've got your zipper pulls on. All right. Now you pull this side back up so that it faces like that. So you just grab it, pull it up. And same deal, line it up like before. Now, grab that piece and that piece and flip them. So you want it to have the exterior on the interior, because what you need to do next is top stitch. trim our tails. Now, it is definitely worthwhile going in, trimming off your excess zipper tape. And burning the edges. Because that just stops there being any bulk, any ugly look to it, anything like that. Right. So that is our gusset for our bag. We're going to put that aside. Now we're going to grab these pieces. So these are part of the connectors. So this is part of the main top connector. Then you have one of these as well, and then your two bottom connectors. This step's also very helpful to have some double-sided tape. You also want a ruler and a pen. Right. So you grab each of them. Find the center line. And mark it. Just like so. Reason we do this is we're about to put double-sided tape on each side and actually build the connector itself. So we do that to each of these pieces. I do apologize, we seem to be having an issue with the webcam feed that has the close-up, which is this camera. So just bear with me a moment. I do apologize. That is something I'm going to have to work on during the week to try and fix, because that should not be doing what it's doing. And can I just say, clear rulers are your best friend when making because you can see everything. It is so much better than having solid color rulers, I will tell you that right now. Alrighty, so now that we've got our line on each of these, we're going to grab our handy dandy double-sided tape and we're going to run a line directly below our middle line that we've just put in. Like so. Then we're going to run a line directly above. And we're going to do that to all 3 pieces. So there's number 1 done. There's number 2, and let's get number 3 sorted. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is we're going to peel, make sure it's stuck down properly, because it's not the best to stick to canvas, I will say that. So then we're going to peel the backs off, one at a time, and we're going to lay the piece over onto that edge, using it as like a guide. So like that. Same deal with the other side of the tape on that piece. And we're going to try and press it down really good and proper. Then we still got to do the other 2 pieces. And the last piece. Just need to put a new piece on that one because the tape didn't want to stay down and it wanted to curl. It's a lot easier when working with like vinyl and that sort of stuff because it sticks exceptionally well to vinyl. Alright, so that's all 3 pieces. Now what we're going to do is go through and top stitch the edges. So we want them about the width of our foot to the edge. So you get that look. So I'm just going to chain these together for the moment so I can get this done a little bit quicker. And then we just go back through and split them. If you want them thinner, you can also make them thinner, but I like them about this thickness for this. So then we're going to thread them through. So this is how we're going to be attaching our D-rings. I do apologize for skipping this song, but that's one of the ones that last time triggered the issues with the live stream. Alright, so we're going to give them a quick run through just so that they're sealed. Alright, so here is our two pieces for our bottom connectors. This is going to be part of our top connector. So we grab our top connector pieces, we lay them with the exteriors to the inside of each other, and then we clip down one edge, and we do the same to the other edge. Now what we do with this one is we push it through the center there, and I like to leave a little bit hanging out just for the extra grab for it. And we're going to go just on the width of the foot. Now it is going to get a bit funny and dodgy where the actual ring is, so just take it slow and easy. If you got to lift your foot regularly, lift your foot, it's fine. Now that part I like to backstitch over because I want it to be really, really solid there. So it looks like that. And you open it up and you pull your ring through. Alrighty, and we're going to top stitch this so it's all neat and tidy. And that gives you your third and final connector. Alright, so next what you do, you grab this piece. Now find these two parts, line them up. Line up your inside as well with your exterior, and you're going to grab your snip and you're going to snip a tiny little snip in there like that. Reason we're doing this, that gives you a middle marker. So we're going to do the same thing with the top up here, and we're going to do this on both sides of the gusset. Now, I am going to drop the cams off once I'm finished this one before I start the portable gaming console case, and hopefully try and fix this webcam here that's not working. Now, the big thing to remember when snipping though is do not make a massive snip. You just want a tiny one that you can see where it actually is like a marker. So like that is really tiny, but it makes it easier for keeping everything lined up. Now we're going to go back through and do the same thing to our exteriors. We're going to fold them in on themselves. And we're going to make sure that we're snipping inside from like the edge to there. We're not going past that stitch line at all. So that's our back panel. Now we're going to do our front panel. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put our connectors on. So find the center of your top connector and line it up with the center that you've just chopped in. Now we're going to grab our bottom connectors. Now it's just past the curve that it goes in. On the actual template, it does show you exactly where it is, but I'll be honest, I've made so many of these of late that I can pretty well just eyeball it at this point. As I said, it is one of my favorite patterns so far to work with. So we're just going to baste them down. Because these will also be properly stitched in when you actually go through and stitch the gusset on. So now our back exterior has its connectors. I'm going to put that to the side. So at this point, we have our full gusset, our front, and our back with the internal pocket, and our binding. First things first, we turn our gusset inside out. We're going to grab our front first, and we're going to face the front inside. And we're going to find our little notch marks and line up the top and bottom. So now we're just going to go around and clip it all into place. So you now have it clipped the whole way around. You've got two choices at this point. We can either basically go through and put the binding on at the same time, or you can do this step if you're unsure and then put the binding on after. What we're going to do is we're going to put the binding on. So I like to start at the top. Try and keep it a little bit taut as you're going around. Because that'll make sure it's nice and snug when you come back to it. And then we trim off our excess. Alright. Now it does make it easier if you open up your zips the whole way as well, because then you can actually bend it a bit more too. Take it nice and slow and make sure that you're getting the right shape and getting your stitch edge the right length away. So this one usually calls for the stitch to be this wide, but I'm doing it a bit thinner today because I want it slightly bigger. Now, again, I don't backstitch this part, but that is because I do the same thing as what I do with my labels. I pull it back through and I tie it.